Hey, what's up guys? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the second part of my series where we're going to be installing the roll control front sway bar on the GTR. So I've got the car jacked up. I've got the sway bar sitting here waiting for us. So let's take a look at what's involved in getting the stock one off. First thing we're going to have to do to gain access to everything is remove the lower engine cover. So I'm going to go ahead and zip that off with my drill. Set you guys up on a time lapse and we'll get to work here. Then as far as removing the sway bars, they're held on by two brackets on the cross member, one here and another one over there. And then we're going to follow the sway bar around under the wheel well, and you've got your end links there. So those are your points of disconnect here, and then one on the other side. Here's your sway bar end link. Trying to take that old one off. And we'll just connect it. We'll leave it connected to the sway bar and just disconnect it from the knuckle extender. Alright, and there's one more bolt on each side of the crossmember in order to get the sway bar bushing bracket off. Right there. So I'll go ahead and take that off. It's 14 mils. I don't really have a way to record it and do it. I'll try. I don't have a small tripod, so let me see what I can do. Alright, our brackets are loose now, so you can pull them up and out. Alright, so we're stuck here. I wasn't anticipating this, but in order to get the sway bar to come off, I'm going to have to remove the front end of the tension rod and drop it out of the way. A little frustrating. Alright, I've got all the bolts and nuts loosened from this. It seems like that'll give me enough room to slip around. Alright, the sway bar is out. Let's pull it out and take a look at it. And the one thing I noticed, like from what I've read online, is supposedly these are hollow from the factory to save weight. And I can definitely tell that it's hollow because it is super light. And as far as the bushings go, they don't look too bad. You can tell they're a little old, but still look pretty fresh, like they've been replaced at least once before. But these are the end links that were on there. And the thing I noticed is there's a bunch of cracking and stuff on them. Rubber's all dry. So I figured while I'm in here, might as well replace those. Alright, I just want to do this for comparison for weight. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the roll control one and see what I weigh with the Superpro. 206.2 pounds. And now let's try with the factory bar. So yeah, I was right. 199.8 versus, so this is like 6.4 pounds heavier to go with this one. So kind of doing a little disservice for the weight, but for the performance is supposed to be far superior. So I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison with the Superpro versus the factory ones. And in the box, there was two different size bushings, polyurethane bushings that came with it. We've got the smaller blue ones and the bigger blue ones. But as far as what matches the factory ones that were on the stock bar are the smaller bushings, so we're gonna go with those because they'll match up. And then we're gonna use the stock reference points for the bushings to know where the Superpros go. So Superpros are gonna go here. We're gonna get our MP grease and grease up the bushings and then go ahead and get ready for assembly. Alright, sway bar is roughly in position. So now I'm going to go ahead and install the brackets. Alright, now that we've got these all snugged down, all down to spec, I torqued the top one down by feel because I couldn't really get a torque wrench on there. But the bottom one, torqued it down at 32 foot-pounds. Well, that one's all done as well. You can see that MP grease kind of oozing out around the bushing. So, fits perfectly. Let's do the end links and then this job is done. Alright, and the nice thing with this Superpro sway bar is, according to Superpro in Australia, is they are designed to work with the OEM sway bar end links. So I went ahead and purchased a couple of new sway bar end links from Terra Firma, as well as where I got the sway bars from. So I'm going to go ahead and do a rough fitment of the sway bar end links, just to have them in position. I'm going to go ahead and connect the sway bar. Alright, and let's go ahead and put the end link in. And if you're wondering what side is top versus bottom, the top one has got the bigger flat nut. The bottom one's just got the little one. That's how the other ones were, so that's how I'm putting these ones back on. And I went ahead and put this on the outer setting because it recommended in the manual for the sway bars to go with the softer setting first, and then if I want to adjust the stiffness, I can go ahead and rotate that end link inward and go with the stiffer setup. There is most definitely an install order, so make sure you do not install the end links until you've installed the front bushings, because you're going to need the movement and play to be able to wiggle around those brackets on that for the sway bar polyurethane bushings. So if you install the end links, you won't have the play, and then you won't be able to do that. You'll have to take the end links off, just to save you some time. Just a quick tip. Alright, so those are your front end links. In the service manual it says 30 to 35 foot-pounds, so I torqued those at 32 as well. And then there's your other section here. It says 29 to 36 foot-pounds on the bushing bracket. Then if you guys are wondering how was the installation of the Superpro, it was no more difficult than removing the factory bar. It went in pretty much the same, just in reverse order. So fit and finish is good, quality of everything seems to be good, and I can't wait to get this thing on the road and see what we can actually do. Well guys, we are all done. I've got the sway bar end links, everything all spec down to torqued down to spec within the service manual. I reconnected the tension arm or tension rod, got that all torqued down to spec as well. So we are all done. I didn't record every little thing because to be honest, on this other side here, where I had the CD boot blowout last summer, when I came over here to just kind of put the end links in, I got a little irritated because you see like little splatters of grease from the CV boot, and it seems to be fine on this knuckle extender, but it had a reaction with the paint on the chassis of the vehicle, so I was kind of a little pissed off because that's all the paint peeled off. That's all bare metal, and it's starting to rust a little bit again in that area. So I'm gonna have to scrape all this off. Probably remove this fender liner again and basically repaint that whole area. Probably have to take the coilover back off as well. So a little irritated, but things don't always go the way you want. So, all right, so I've got the wheel liner removed again to fix this area, which I don't know what was on there. I don't know if brake fluid got spilt there or if it was, I'm pretty sure it was the CD boot, which was the, what kind of grease is that? The Shell Stamina grease. I don't know if that has some type of corrosive power to make paint just disintegrate and dissolve. So we got VHT metal rust converter on here. I'm going to spray a couple coats of primer, let that cure for like 2-3 days. Then probably do like 3 layers of black paint, let that cure for 4 or 5 days, and then undercoat it so it matches the rest of this real hard stuff here. So Luke, I am your father. Here's a quick look. I've got this area painted now. So next will come the undercoating over that, just for extra protection. Alright, undercoating's all done. Everything's all dry and ready to roll. So while that paint's drying, I went ahead and removed the like the little side skirt mud whatever piece. And last year when I replaced or pulled the fender liner out to do the rust repair on the wheel liner, I ended up having to pull this off, and I never got back to getting to where I needed to tape it back on. I just kind of had it mounted, so I went ahead and took it off and scrubbed everything down, and then I'm using this Scotch 3M Extreme mounting tape. So it looks just like what was on it from the factory, so we'll go ahead and set that on there. Just gotta peel the tape off first. And I went ahead and wiped this all down with rubbing alcohol, and I even buffed or sanded this with like 2000 grit sandpaper to get all the nasty scaling and dirt off that was there. So it turned out pretty good. Mounted nice and secure, and then there's the 2 screws underneath, right there. Alright, I've got the wheel liner back in. I'm going to put the wheel on, lower this thing back to the ground, and we're done. Alright, wheels on. Everything's good to go for the sway bar. Got this little side piece on with the double stick tape. Everything's all good to go. Now we can move to the rear next and then go for a test drive. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you found it helpful. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And I will see you guys next video. I'll be back to do the rear sway bar probably sometime in like the next week or so. Thanks again for watching guys. See you next time.